I am 92 years old. I was married to the same woman for half a century, 50 long years. I buried her 8 years ago on a cold, rainy Tuesday. I am going to tell you the brutal truth about marriage that your expensive couples therapist, your pastor, and society will never tell you. Why? Because it shatters the comfortable illusion they sell. They feed you this fantasy of a perfect partnership where everything just clicks. It is a lie. Look at these hands. They tremble now. The skin is thin. But they used to be strong enough to build a house, grip a steering wheel for 14-hour shifts, and sign the checks that kept the family fed. I thought that was enough. I thought that made me a real man. But you know what these hands couldn't do? They couldn't reach across the table and hold hers when she was sitting right across from me, quietly breaking inside. I can still smell the bitter, stale coffee from those late nights at my desk and feel the heavy, suffocating silence in the room when she finally stopped trying to talk to me. Don't scroll away. Don't you dare close this video and go back to your comfortable distractions. Because if you are sitting there thinking you are a good husband simply because you pay the mortgage and haven't cheated, you are actively destroying your marriage every single day. What I am about to tell you is the exact reason why you might wake up one day in a cold, echoing house, realizing you lost the love of your life years before she ever left this earth. Take your mind back with me. Let's go back to 1978. I was 44 years old, the absolute prime of my life. I was a regional director, ruthlessly clawing my way up the corporate ladder. I thought I was a king because I brought home a fat paycheck every 15th of the month. I believed that providing was the beginning and the end of my duty as a husband. I remember this one specific Tuesday in November. It's burned into my mind. I pulled into the driveway at 9:30 p.m. The house was pitch dark except for the dim yellow light hovering over the kitchen stove. I walked in. My briefcase felt like it weighed 100 pounds. The house smelled like pot roast, cold, neglected pot roast. She was sitting alone at the kitchen table, staring blankly at a glass of tap water. She didn't yell. She didn't scream. She just looked up at me, and her eyes, God, her eyes were just so deeply exhausted from carrying the emotional weight of a two-person marriage entirely by herself. What did I do? I patted her shoulder. I muttered, "Rough day at the office, honey." I didn't notice the new dress she wore to surprise me. I just poured my scotch and locked myself in my study. I thought paying for the house meant I didn't have to be present inside it. Then there was the summer of '82, a perfect Sunday afternoon. You know the kind. The smell of freshly cut grass, the distant sound of neighborhood kids playing. She came out to the back porch and sat next to me on the swing. All she wanted was 10 minutes of her husband's undivided attention, just a connection, but I had a thick stack of quarterly reports on my lap. I was physically sitting inches away from her, but my soul was 100 miles away, buried in profit margins. She started talking about her sister. I just nodded mechanically. "Uh-huh, that's nice, dear." Empty words. I felt her shift her weight. I felt the exact microscopic moment she gave up. She took her untouched tea, stood up, and walked back inside. The screen door slammed shut. Bang! I didn't even look up from my papers. I justified it. I told myself, I'm building our empire. God, I was a blind fool. I was building a massive fortress of paper and pride, and I was leaving the woman I loved locked outside the gates, shivering in the cold. I remember the exact year she stopped arguing with me, 1986. Men, listen to me right now. When your wife is fighting with you, complaining, nagging, she is fighting for the marriage. She is desperately begging you to engage. But when she goes completely quiet, when she just passively accepts your constant absence, that is the sound of a dying heartbeat. I mistook her tragic silence for peace. I didn't realize she was just slowly grieving the death of the man she thought she married. Fast forward to right now. 2024. Look around this room. It's beautiful, isn't it? Crown molding, mahogany shelves, 4,000 square feet of prime real estate. Fully paid off, no mortgage. But let me tell you what it really is. It is a beautifully decorated tomb. Every single morning, I wake up at 5 a.m. It is a stubborn habit left over from 40 years of grinding. But there is no rush anymore. There is no train to catch, no board meeting to prep for. I swing my feet out of bed and my joints pop. The house is completely silent. The only sound is the low, monotonous hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. I make 1 cup of decaf coffee. I sit at the edge of this massive, custom-made oak dining table. It seats 12, but there is only 1 placemat. I look across the table at her empty chair. Sometimes, if the morning light hits the fabric just right, I can almost trick my brain into thinking she's just gone out to grab the newspaper, but she hasn't. She is in the ground, and I am here, drinking bitter water in a museum of my own making. Around noon, the silence gets too heavy, so I pick up this smartphone. I stare at my son's name on the screen. He is 60 now, a vice president at a logistics firm. I tap out a message with my clumsy thumbs. "Hey son, thinking about you. Give the old man a call if you get a minute." I hit send. Then I wait. 1 hour, 3 hours, 5 hours. The sun starts to go down. The shadows in the house stretch out like long, dark fingers. Finally, ping, a text back. "Sorry, Dad. Absolutely slammed at the office today. Back-to-back meetings. We'll try to call this weekend." Slammed at the office. I read those words and I feel like I've been punched in the gut. Do you know why? Because those are my exact words. That is the exact excuse I used to brush him off when he was 10 years old and wanted to throw a baseball in the yard. I taught my son that his career was a valid excuse to ignore the people who love him. And now I am harvesting the exact same bitter crop that I planted 50 years ago. The evening is the hardest. The darkness presses against the windows. I turn on the television. I don't even care what channel it is. I turn the volume up to 45 just to hear human voices. But the canned laughter from the TV doesn't fill the void. At 7 p.m., I put a frozen meal in the microwave. Beep, beep, beep. I stand there, leaning heavily against the granite countertop, watching the plastic tray spin. I made millions of dollars in my lifetime, millions, and here I am, eating a sodium-filled $5 meal, standing over a stainless steel sink, completely, utterly alone. You convince yourselves that the money is a thick, heavy blanket that will keep you warm in your winter years. Let me tell you a secret about cold, hard cash. It is incredibly cold. You cannot have a conversation with a bank statement. You cannot hold hands with a stock certificate. If you keep choosing your work over your wife, I promise you, your chair will be empty too. Look at me. Look right into my eyes. I know exactly what you are thinking right now. You are thinking, but I do everything for my family. I break my back to give them a good life. That is your ego talking. That is the poisonous lie that society fed you, and you swallowed it whole. We are raised as men to believe our worth is entirely tied to our utility. How much can you lift? How much can you earn? How big of a wall can you build around your castle to keep the wolves out? We become obsessed with being the ultimate provider. We wear our exhaustion like a bloody badge of honor. But listen to an old man who has outlived his own ego. Your wife didn't marry a walking ATM machine. She didn't marry a mortgage-paying robot. She married a man. She married a partner. And there is a massive, fatal difference between a provider and a partner. A provider throws money at a problem. A partner sits in the trenches of daily life. A provider buys a bigger house. A partner makes sure the people inside that house actually feel seen, heard, and valued. You think buying her a new car makes up for the fact that you haven't looked her in the eyes and asked her about her fears in 5 years? It doesn't. Here is the brutal anatomy of a dying marriage. It does not explode in a fiery crash of infidelity or abuse. No, it bleeds out slowly from 1,000 tiny paper cuts of neglect. It dies every time you roll over and look at your phone instead of asking about her day. It dies every time you dismiss her concerns as nagging because your ego is too fragile to admit you are failing her. It dies because of our stubborn, arrogant male pride. We refuse to apologize. We refuse to bend. We think emotional vulnerability is a weakness, so we build these massive walls to protect our feelings, not realizing we are locking ourselves inside a prison of our own making. And the cruelest joke of all, by the time your ego finally breaks, by the time you realize that your title, your bank account, and your pride mean absolutely nothing, it is usually too late. You are old, your hands are weak, and the woman who would have loved you through poverty and sickness is either gone or completely checked out. You spend your whole life chasing a legacy of wealth only to realize the only legacy that actually matters is the warmth of the hand holding yours on your deathbed. And right now, my friend, you are letting that hand slip away. So how do you stop this? How do you rip up the blueprint of a failed marriage and start over? You do 3 things, and you don't wait until tomorrow. You do them today. Number 1, when you pull into your driveway tonight, stop. Put the car in park, turn off the ignition, and sit in the silence for 60 seconds. Take a deep breath. Leave the project manager, the senior partner, the business owner out there on the asphalt. Kill the provider ego for the night. When your hand touches that front doorknob, you are nothing but a husband. Take your smartphone, put it in a drawer, and leave it there. Give her your absolute, undivided, uninterrupted presence. Look at her face like it's the only thing that matters. Number 2, ask her a real question about her heart, and then shut your mouth. When she tells you about a struggle, a fear, or a frustration, bite your tongue until it bleeds if you have to. Do not try to fix it. Men, we are hardwired to be the mechanics of the soul. We want to pull out our emotional wrenches and hammer away her stress. Stop it. She doesn't want a handyman. She wants a sanctuary. She needs to know you can sit in the dark with her and just listen. Say these exact words. I hear you. That sounds incredibly hard. I am right here with you. Number 3, reach out and touch her. And I do not mean intimacy in the bedroom. I mean in the mundane trenches of a Tuesday evening. When she is standing at the stove, walk up and put your heavy hand on the small of her back. When you are sitting on the couch, reach across the cushions and hold her hand. These tiny, microscopic daily points of physical contact are the mortar that holds the bricks of a 50-year marriage together. Without that mortar, the wind comes and the whole damn wall crumbles. You are standing at a profound crossroads, my friends. The clock is ticking mercilessly, and time is the one currency you cannot earn more of. You can keep choosing your pride. You can keep chasing the illusion of the perfect retirement, the bigger boat, the fatter investment portfolio. And I promise you, you might just get it all, but you will enjoy it in a massive house that echoes with your own footsteps sitting across from an empty chair, pouring a drink for one. Or you can wake up. You can swallow that bitter pill of pride. You can look at the woman who has weathered your storms, and you can finally become the partner she has been begging for. Because let me tell you about the ultimate freedom at the end of your life. It is not financial independence. It is knowing that when the lights go out and your lungs take their final rattling breath, you won't be reaching for a pile of stock certificates. You will be reaching for her hand. I lost my chance to hold her hand. You still have yours. Go to her. Make it count before the chair is empty.